it's like a bridge, right, between the organization thing and the employees.
See, so this is really deep, Srinidhi, I would tell you.
When it comes to the women who are either going on the maternity leave.
I've seen a lot of companies helping helping maternity leaves pre and post. They will still have to take care of the baby.
When I started interacting with the global leaders.
And to add one more point, so there's a new program which is being created in the corporates.
Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to my podcast where today I have a special person who has over 8 years of hands-on experience in human resources, learning and development and social media recruitment across US and APAC regions. And she brings that wealth of expertise to every project and initiative. And she's a HR strategist, leveraging that blend of strategic thinking and practical insights. And she also partnered with the organization to develop and implement that innovative HR strategies that actually drive the employee engagement and retention and organizational growth. She's also a learning and development champion because she's committed to cultivating that culture of continuous learning and professional development. And she also delivers and designs and delivers the L&D programs that empower women and especially the employees of the organization to reach their full potential and drive their business to success. As a social media recruitment guru, she also harnesses the power of the social media platforms, and she's specialized in creating the targeted recruitment campaigns that attract the top talent and enhance that employer branding across the diverse industries and geographies. Hi Ritu, welcome to this show.
Hi, Srinidhi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, before deep diving, I would like to give a context, set the background why we are doing this. So, basically, Ritu, whenever we have, women, especially who are in the pregnancy period or in the maternity leave period, or when they are coming back to work, they undergo different, emotional levels altogether, right? And especially as a woman myself, I had been going through such things. I had gone through such things. So today we will be discussing on how we can actually take the help of HR to get back that balance in the work and professional life by seeking some support, and what are the legal employment provisions that a person should know when they are in the organization, and how about building that support in the team, because most of the people face that issue. And we'll discuss more on these aspects so that many of the women will actually get support and will actually be beneficial from this, right? So this is what we'll discuss today, and I would love to hear from you.
Sure.
Yeah, now I would like to hear from you. How was your journey when you started in the HR field, HR, that area? How did you feel? How did you start it? And what is that progress that you have in your career currently? What are the learnings basically?
Yeah, so I actually love talking to people. I interact well and I love knowing their stories. So that's when I stepped into HR. And it was a very good progress for me because initially I was interacting with them indirectly through different platforms. And then I started having direct interviews with them, direct interactions with them. I met a lot of different people for a lot of different industry from different backgrounds, from different experiences, years of experiences, or different background. All of them are of different platforms as well. So right now, I've come across all that, and I've also met a lot of people who are actually, very stable at their own jobs, and they're still in touch with me. So in case they still want anything, even during the recruitment or anything, they still reach out to me. So I'm still in touch with many of my, participants or candidates, and I also get a lot of reference from them. So it is nice. That's when I see a progress right now. And slowly, I've also moved into learning and development, wherein we see what is necessary for an employee, what kind of training is necessary, what are the gaps between teams, what are the gaps between different organizations in the market area, what is happening out, what is happening within the company. So this is the spectrum which I'm looking at right now.
Okay, because when it comes to HR, it's like a bridge, right, between the organization thing and the employees. So I would like to know some of the like how do you balance basically between the positives and the like positive experiences and the negative challenges that you might be facing on a everyday basis? Because sometimes people come up asking the questions about the appraisal. Sometimes they ask about the hikes, which when they are not satisfied. So how do you handle those things? Sometimes people who may be the core team members, they wanted to switch from that project to another project, but manager would not be saying okay for that. And when they reach out HR, like how do you handle that? How do you find that balance?
See, so this is really deep, Srinidhi, I would tell you. So, first point, when people come out for their appraisals, so everybody have their own perspective of their performance. There are certain levels wherein we see organizational performance, wherein we see teams performance, wherein we see as individual performance. What is the criteria that person have? So when it comes to their team performance, how is he performing in the team? How is he interacting? So there's something called 360 degrees feedback, wherein we collect feedback for appraisal from all different teams.
Okay.
It can be their vendors, their clients, their team members, their managers. So it's a 360-degree process. So there are certain levels, certain patterns of appraisals where we follow, and it's actually a very deep introspective in that, because it differs from a person from their own background. Let's take for an example. I've worked with complete all startups. Exposure is different, and
Okay.
there are few employees wherein they are from a huge companies. They know what is the bigger aspects of the team. So my appraisal definitely differs from what they have, because my experience is different. And yes, as you said, yeah, people still have a lot of queries during the appraisal, on the appraisal. And so, see, for me as a HR, we try to balance on what is more beneficial for an organization and as an employee. We should have, so there's something called ethical dilemma. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, wherein we always have that ethical dilemma, which is right, which is the right time, which is the right way to do it.
Hmm.
So that always we play a very, very major role. But as a HR, we are also business partners, wherein we contribute a lot on what benefits to our business. Equally, we also have empathy, and we always stay in the shoes of employees. What benefits them? What is their perspective? So when it comes to me, when recently we have seen such cases, because our circle is, I cycle appraisal cycle is in June, May and June, and there have been few queries. So what we did is we had internal promotions. So there are few people, there are employees wherein they see two to three things. Either they need good payment, either they need good promotions, or either they need good positions.
Mhm.
It can be their designations or their team role play or anything. So depends on them, what they need, what we need. We have to have one-to-one conversation. What are they expecting from us? What are we expecting from them? And in case we want to promote them or we want to give them appraisal, how is it going to be for the next 1 year? So it has to be a one-on-one conversation with HR and with manager.
Hmm.
So it's a deep process wherein we go throughout the year on different cycles, see their performances, see their different aspects, and then go ahead with their appraisals. And yes, definitely, there still will be crowd wherein they have lot of queries, but our duty is to clear as much as possible. And it's not like we will clear everybody's. No, it's not really possible to clear everybody's thing, because they're all of them are of different layers. But we try our best to balance between the organization and employee.
Hmm. Okay. So, what are your positive experiences when it came to this? Especially as we told, it's when it comes to the women who are either going on the maternity leave or because I remember my days when I was on maternity leave. I have got my promotion. I have got my hike. That hike was more than 25%, I guess. So. I was not expecting that, and in fact, I got the best performer award in during that phase when I was on maternity leave. Like I had to, I received the mail and I was like super happy. But that doesn't happen all the time, right? So I had my previous companies where I had faced a scenario that when I had to leave my first company just for my marriage because I had to relocate to some other place, and we had a bond of 3 years. So the 2 years were completed, and the 1 year, 10 year. So they were asking me to pay the amount, and in some cases, they were asking to just they were leaving. So how would it be for women normally? Like, what are the things that they consider, and what are the positive and negative experience that you faced in such situations specifically?
Okay, so you're asking right before the maternity leave or after the maternity leave?
Like, it could be in during that period, just before maternity, or
In
when you're
between.
entering. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Um. Okay. Yeah, I have seen few people wherein there was a challenge for a lot of people, for a lot of women who have come after their maternity leave, because as you already said, they have good appraisals. I mean, of course, they had what they needed, but there was also a disconnect with the team.
Yeah.
So major thing is they had a lot of disconnect with what's happening with their projects because a
True.
lot of technologies changed, a lot of patterns changed. In case they want to change, also there'll be a lot of changes from the companies because there are few companies, few industries wherein they can afford maternity leaves.
Mm.
It's not financially, but as in their work as well.
Correct.
They find an alternative. They're not so
Mm.
dependent, but there are few industries wherein they cannot do that.
Mm.
So it depends on the industry where that woman is coming. And when it comes to the industry part again, there are few industries wherein they really, really support because they have a huge support from their counterparts, from their US counterparts and their policies. Again, policies also differ from industry to industry.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm.
Major difficulty where I've seen is there have been a few industries which I cannot name it right now,
Yeah.
but then there were a lack of opportunity there, which I myself found a lot of difficulties in, giving them a job because it was not easy for them.
Mm.
Because they had to, and that's a difficult part for women because right after their maternity leave, they will still have to take care of the baby
Correct.
at certain level.
Correct.
So they have to equally balance it. In case I promise to give them a job, uh, they should equally perform during that time.
True.
So it's again a ethical dilemma wherein we as a recruiter sometimes think of it. That is the reason why we step back. Hiring sometimes uh, after maternity leaves
Mm.
in case they want to change. And yes, we had discussion on the other day as well on few points, but there are few points wherein people will be removed
Mm.
during their maternity leave,
Yeah.
which is actually not a suggested thing because they have to equally plan with their families as well. But these days, it's actually the level of this have been decreased a lot. I've seen a lot of companies helping and helping maternity leaves pre and post.
Mm.
Women pre and post their maternity leaves. So people are being very, very supportive, but it's again a woman's challenge. I think we should all be like a superwoman in this because we have to catch up with the team, we have to coordinate with the team, we have to not lose the disconnect. So one thing I can suggest is there these days, I'm not sure if you have, there are few sessions with doctors wherein companies tie up with. Are you aware of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I was
So
taking
there
my
will
leave,
be,
I had consulted them. So
right. Was it from the company?
yeah, it was from the company. I think it was during the it was just after the maternity leave, not before, because I was not able to cope up with the team well, or that gelling up was not happening, and I was like a separate person in the team, and everyone were like a team, and I was not understanding why are they not including me, and sometimes even if I try to do the work and over deliver the thing, so that thinking, okay, people may consider me as part of the team, it was like separate, and the kind of stress that built up during that time, it was enormous. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
that
Yeah,
time I had
definitely.
taken.
Yeah, exactly. So these initiatives can also help. But again, see, I would suggest one thing that In case if there's a woman who's during pregnancy, who's during their maternity leave, I would still suggest them to keep in touch, and I would suggest their managers to keep them involved in the team. Okay,
Mm.
she might still not be an active person, but she know who's an addition to the team, who's a removal from the team. She'll still have those meetings and disconnects, connects with the team members. So I
Mm.
would suggest, though people are in maternity leave, at least once in a month or once in 2 weeks, they can still have their team meetings, which can
Mm.
actually help them from their disconnecting from the team. And it's very, very natural for anybody, it can be a man or woman. It's very natural to be disconnected because when we are around people, we get together with them. But when a person is out of the system for some time, it's very difficult for us to get back to the nature or connecting to the person.
Mm.
So I would suggest we should still keep in touch with the team through different sources. It can be a team lunch, it can be a team meeting, and also, so there are few communities internally, wherein I have seen few companies wherein they have a community for all maternity leave people. There are few women of different stages of maternity. They are early in their maternity leave or late in there, and they are actually ready to get back. So all of them, if there's a small community within a company, they can help each other. And this will create a huge help to them because they can support each other, they can advise each other, and it's also a mental support for each woman in that community.
Mm.
So these are few points which I would get it when it comes. And as you said, disconnects, definitely it would happen, but we should keep in touch with them to certain level. And yes, there are also few, I'm not sure, companies have recently started to tie up with hospitals for different healing, yoga healing,
Yeah.
sound healing, yoga healing, met, activities. We can definitely be a part of it, because when it heals internally, we will feel confident about it. And
Yeah.
mainly after going through a lot of stress, we suppress our confidence at some point, however good we are at our work, but we'll regain it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like coming back to the point of this legal provisions that employee must know, especially the women. So, what are few things that they need to keep in mind? Because it sometimes, I remember the days when I was carrying and when I had to take my maternity leave, I was searching so much on the Quora, like will people lose their jobs? Because especially that was the peak COVID time, so I was checking, will people lose their job? All those questions were there in that, and I was thinking, okay, will it will a organization take that stand of removing people? Because when such things enter into mind, especially for a woman who is carrying, I think the hormonal changes and all that, it gets into the overthinking loop or some negative level altogether, and they start to feel that insecure, right? They start feeling insecure about their job. It could be with their emotions, that what if I do not have my job, or what happens once I join. So basically, what are the legal things that we need to know, so that we'll have that confidence that we are in the safe zone, safe organization, and that we can go back and join, and will be financially safe as well. Because that's an important point. Most of the women look out for that financial like they are dependent on the organizations for the financial part, right? So how can you just suggest me on that area, what are the legal things that we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, so first thing is, no, companies will not fire anybody when they are on maternity leave.
Mm.
That's actually an illegal when company does it. No, it won't happen. We all of us are absolutely secure on this.
Mm.
And when it comes to other legal parts, uh, we still have our own financial support from the company insurance, and there are few benefits from the companies wherein we can claim for our kid. It
Yeah.
can be a nursing financials or anything. We can still have that support from the company. And
Okay.
in case there will be a change of projects in certain companies, we can still jump to other companies always.
Mm.
And if there is a it's there are in a policy wherein I think it is from week 6 to week 26 or something, wherein maternity leaves are usually taken.
Mm.
But then it is on our thing if we want to opt it or no. That
Okay.
that is again up to us. In case we want to shift our companies and all, that is within us. But
Okay.
we are free to do, and it's I'll tell you. So, normal employee have same benefits of how we are on the maternity break. It's just the difference that we have that little leverage to balance our work-life balance and personal life at that moment. But it's all the same for all, employees. So
Okay.
there'll be no other job security problems for us.
Okay.
And at least these days, no, that's reduced a lot. There's a lot of progress. Companies have been supporting them so well
Hmm.
that problem is reduced.
Okay, okay. So, like sometimes, as I told, like we're coming back to the previous point that we were discussing. So, in the team, when they feel that lack of support, and when you told that, there are many options now to get educated, to attend that learning and development sessions, but finding that balance to contribute to the project work and to attend those sessions, we skip most of them. Even I do not. I enroll for some course or some webinar where people come and explain the things, how can take the things forward, or there will be some kind of meditation sessions happening, or the yoga sessions happening, or some art sessions happening just for the healing and for the relaxation basically. But we tend to skip it, thinking we are so skeptical and so scared of the work that okay, because people are treating me this way, so I'll have to really contribute. And sometimes managers couldn't be that supportive, that great in the support, right? So in such cases, I've noticed that even if it ping HR, there wouldn't be any response. So in such cases, how do we deal, especially in the big organizations? I see that sometimes. So not really sure how do we tackle with this, or whom to exactly approach in such scenarios.
No, see, this has been little, really actually a little difficult, Srinidhi, because usually that is how it shouldn't be there, unfortunately. But then, as our generation is going forward, we are going through a transition phase right now, wherein there's a trend which has been changed and people are trying to adapt to a new trend right now.
Mm.
So yes, there will be some HRs wherein they are not supportive because for that kind of industry or for that company right now, they might not have that rights to do it, or lack of importance to HR in that industry or in the company wherein they just don't respond. Uh, there are again certain things, but yeah, um, again, it's not only us as maternity leaves. We actually, as an employer, also tend to miss a lot of trainings.
Yeah.
But what I would suggest is we will still have few recurring sessions. Wherein in learning and development, let's take I missed a session this month. I will still be able to enroll it for the next month.
Mm.
So we have few sessions in our thing wherein there are mandatory sessions for every employee. If they miss it today, they can do it again next time. So if we miss one time, we will still try it for the next one. If that is not working, let's have an open discussion with our manager or with HR again, stating what can be done. Again, there are also a few particular trainings wherein it talks about how team building happens or how to, connect with people during different sessions. And there's something called mentorship program.
Mm.
So usually, what when in my first company, I was tagged to a mentor, which is in the US counterpart. So I'm actually in regularly in touch with them. So mentorship program will actually help women during this period because all of them are from director level positions or a very C level positions. So they will help us. And definitely, if when we are in touch with them, we will definitely feel confident because I was very confident. And I had few people who were in maternity leave, they were very confident and they were absolutely getting back
Mm.
to the work with the same confidence. So mentorships can definitely help in this period,
Okay.
which I have. actually personally seen. And yes, we actually have to talk to managers about it.
Mm,
But if that also doesn't happen, uh, we have to still keep trying, is what I can say, because these days, Srinidhi, to be frank, we have a lot of programs coming up,
mm,
and that has been actually little reduced. It is even more open to all women with good privileges in the
okay.
companies.
Mm, yeah. That's true because even I noticed that when I had joined my current organization. So when I started interacting with the global leaders, so that's when my confidence started boosting up. Otherwise, the project which I'm in after the maternity leave is like feeling a dip in the confidence, and I had to really work on myself to bring back that. At least face, at least stand up for myself, speak up for myself. I heard such words, that you'll have to really speak up for yourself, Srinidhi. And but all of a sudden it's like taking one person from different zone and putting in different zone. Though we have the experience and all of that, it's like completely haywire thing. So I think as you rightly mentioned, being in the supportive community of mothers and interacting with the mentors is essential, and especially with the women, I think they understand us better. Because I recently had a similar incident when I had to, when I was in some client visit. So that person, she had a daughter, like she's a senior most leader in the organization, and the kind of understanding she had when she was talking to me, it was really amazing. It was like, okay, I'm in the safe hands, I can work whatever I want, I can just put it forward.
Yes,
So that was the kind of confidence I got.
exactly.
So I think that
Right. And
helps us.
again,
Yeah,
yeah.
please. Please, please continue.
No, no, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that helps the women. We take that step forward after going back from maternity leave. But if we take that one step forward, interacting with these people or being in the energy of these people, it helps us get back, at least rewire our brain in such a way that, okay, even they are mothers, they were able to handle. And even now, we could be at the very first step, but we can still try. So,
Yeah. And to add one more point, so there's a new program which is being created in the corporates.
hmm,
It is still initiative in few companies called a
okay.
buddy program. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah, buddy program, I have
Okay.
heard. Yeah.
Uh, Buddy program is wherein people just listen. People are just there to listen. There's a group of team wherein it can be anybody. Mainly for women because we are stressed. So let's take a person have come through an accident and he's mentally or he lost a friend or anybody. They go to the room, they talk to the buddy program, buddy community, and they just talk. And buddy team just listens. They don't talk anything. They just vent out their feelings. And that's a very good relaxing program for anybody. And this really helps maternity people
Okay.
once they come out of it.
Yeah.
So this also can be actually uh, be initiative in lot of companies because there was a there was a startup which I recently met, and when they have initiated and we had a discussion on this, I was amazed with that. I was amazed with that idea. So this also can help.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, Ritu, sometimes I see that women, because they are scared of doing such things, talking to people, because they're already in a zone where they lost the touch with people or the employees in the organization. And if they have to go and speak to the senior leaders, even to drop a message asking if I can take maternity from this day to this day, they'll be super skeptical and doubtful and scared. Because having that manager, even under MO, or else, they have that things, right? So, in such cases, when we ask someone to go and be in the energy of the senior leaders, like if we are taking the other side of the coin, so they would not be that comfortable, right? So, in such cases, like they may have the idea of quitting their job or moving to some other company. But in the field of psychology, we call this as patterns. Like if we are escaping from one thing and then we will try to join some other project or some other company, we may get the similar boss. That's how we attract, because of the patterns and the emotion, basically the emotional patterns. So in that case, when they have that dissatisfaction because the lack of appreciation, lack of team bonding, and all these things, they try to look out for other stuff. It could be side hustling, and they may lose out complete focus on this. In such cases, how can they, like, have you seen any such people when you might have interacted during, the phase of retention? Any of the women, maybe you can just give us a case study so that we can get some kind of boost up or the insights on how we can handle these scenarios. Because recently I've done a workshop where at least out of 62 women, I have got a response of at least 22 people that they want to quit their jobs. They still are not in the maternity leave. They are about to get into the maternity leave, but they already have the thought that I may quit the job. I want to quit the job. So how do we overcome that?
Okay. So this is actually for not women, but this is mainly I would tell it for the organization in that perspective.
Hmm.
Because as an organization, we have to be very approachable.
Correct.
So let's take recently we there was a woman in our company wherein she had gone to a maternity leave,
Hmm.
and she's actually coming back next month, and
Hmm.
we have prepared everything for her. And in case she needs anything, also we were very approachable to her. We were
Hmm.
here, we were listening to what she wants to tell. That happens to any that's the psychology of a human. When people don't listen to them, they just want to escape. But when people are there to listen and address their issue, that's when we don't quit. And
Correct.
when you said out of 62, 22 people are doing it because there's a lack of attention in that area of the company, wherein
Hmm.
we have to actually focus on what is wrong. Is it a disconnect with the team, or if they what help would they need? We should again introspect. We have to also investigate on what has to be done in that. What is the main reason to quit?
Hmm.
Is it a high dosage of their work, or is it their lack of motivation, or is it their stress levels with the kids, or do they need any help with their nursing needs,
Hmm.
or how can we help them? So first, as an organization, I would see that I would talk to them, I would take an interview or have a one-on-one conversation and see what they would need. What Why is that area coming to their mind that they want to quit? It is because it's a lack of attention from the organization. So, but if really an organization address it, I think they'll be very, very safe and they wouldn't get that idea of quitting.
Hmm.
But again, there has to be equal. I know we are scared to approach senior team members for anything, but we have to definitely take a step to communicate well. We have to actually speak up and tell what we actually need, what we are actually going through. Until we tell them, they will not able to we will not be able to introspect on what's happening in a woman's life or anybody's life. So in case there are few traumas or which I have, there are few situations or some divorces or breakups or anything which I'm going through, and that's affecting my work, I would actually talk to my manager or HR on an open communication. So even if I'm little scared, I still have to step up and take it,
Yeah.
because that is something which they can't introspect when we don't communicate. So it's a two-way street here, Srinidhi. One, they have to have an open communication with any of them, and I would suggest everybody please have their at least one good buddy in their office. It is very, very necessary to have a friend at work,
Yeah. Yeah.
mainly women.
That's true.
And in case we don't tell also, our friend, our own companion will help us with that. And that builds up lot of confidence. And yes, no matter what, we have to communicate it to some or other person. In case that is not addressed, then we'll have to go to the next step. But I would suggest companies as well on second way of the communication, that when a person is having that thoughts, we have to introspect on what is the attrition level. So when we introspect the attrition level of a person, we know why a person, what is the age? Is it millennials, or is it Gen Z who are quitting, or is it working women who's gone to maternity leave and come back? They are quitting more. So we will see our gaps on what is lacking in our company.
Hmm.
That's when we will see the gap. But yeah, it's again a two-way street, Srinidhi. So we should
Yeah.
equally have both employee and employer actually have a share in this.
Yeah, I remember when you told about the Gen Z and all that. So I remember the scenario when I had started my job 8.5 years back. So that time we used to stick to one organization, whatever it is, whatever they give or not, we used to stick to the organization. But later on, when the things around us are improving and growing so much, even the person wants to grow, even the person wants to experience that, because when we are putting our efforts of at least 8.5, 9 hours, especially to the people who really want to grow and who really want to have that identity or the promotion. You were saying, right, the three stages where either person wants the promotion or the hike or the that kind
Designation,
of position.
position, yeah.
So I think when a person has all those things which actually drive them, right, otherwise there won't be motivation at all. They may be working, but they're like, we don't work like donkeys, right?
Yes,
We want some appreciation and all that stuff. So but now it's like
exactly.
that uh, the switch or the internal switching or whatever, it's like it's so easy now. It's so easy now. And how do you actually handle that? For example, Gen Z, how do you handle them? It could be the real challenge for you, right, to at least retain them.
Yeah.
Or maybe the senior most people, it could be
Yeah,
very
it's not
easy.
so yeah, so millennials and all, we are all very efficient. I'm also a millennial, so I am a very efficient at my work. But when you come to Gen Zs, no, I've seen my own cousins and I've seen good part is they're very quick learners and they're very active. They just energize the flow just like this. But when it comes, they also tend to switch jobs very easily. But
Yes.
then once we find their trigger point, no, what is that one thing which makes them stay? That's when we can survive, we can grow a company like crazy with Gen Z people. They're very easy to work with. And projects just get finished so quickly with Gen Z. So it can be anybody, but mainly with these people because they're so adaptable. It's just that we have to talk to a person and see what they are fond of. Once we get point of one person, it's very easy to crack the code here. So
Yeah.
it's willing to work with Gen Zs, okay? Because the energies are flowed like crazy.
Yeah, true.
They're so good at it. One thought of quitting, we'll have to see. We have to really crack the code, and that is our HR's job. We will do it for you guys. That is what we are here. We will crack the code for anybody, but once it is communicated, once we know their patterns, it's easy for us to crack the code and attrition. It's easy to stop that level.
Hmm. Okay. Because most of the times people hear about the organization or these are the policies and stuff, and most of them give up at that moment. So I think having the good communication with HR is also equally important. Not only with the manager, but also with the HR is equally important. But we'll have to be really fortunate
It
enough
is.
to get the HRs also in that way, I think. As I told you,
No,
it would
yeah,
be
that's
mostly the one-way communication, but not the two-way communication sometimes.
too. Right. No, that is something which is not in our hands. But then companies are taking an action on this. I mean, they're very particular on choosing their own HR team right now because quality has improved and companies are well aware of importance of people this time, these days actually, because uh, there are few projects wherein they are more of people centric, there are more of people dependencies is more. So it is HR's duty wherein we keep people in a good space, create that space, how they will be involved in the environment or how they have been treated in the environment. That's where HR tunes it. And as you said, it's very important for any individual to reach out to HR on anything. Doesn't matter if it can be solved or not solved, no. But we have to reach out to managers and HRs for any tiny thing because we have seen a lot of behaviors in the company and we will be able to find out what is actually happening with the person.
Correct. Yeah. I think that's very important. And when you told, like, when I was saying about the manager, like equal importance, we'll have to really maintain that rapport with the HR and the manager. Sometimes, there could be some abuse in the organization, because I remember some 4 5 years back, not 4 5, maybe 6 years back, when I was in an organization. One of my friends, we both were in the same organization, and she had a really high abuse from the manager, like in the team. So but she was so scared to report that to the HR or the right team. She was super scared, and she had a friend who knows about that, and she told that I'll raise on behalf of you, but she was still scared, and she was tolerating all that pain from that getting from that abuse. So how do we handle such situations? How do we take it forward, and how do we actually make ourselves a lot comfortable in approaching the right people and taking the necessary action?
See, this is actually a very tricky question, Srinidhi, because mm, I think HR also plays a second way communication here, because when a person is going through anything, either their team members or we will know what's happening. When it comes to a huge number, okay, let's take I have been abused or something is happening with me, I'll take frequent leaves, or I'm not very active with people around. People will start giving complaints that she's not performing or something. That's when
Mm.
HR identifies and see what's happening. That's when, even if a person is not identified, she's little scared to go out of it, we will approach it. We will approach her and see what's actually happening. But that time, at least, we have to actually tell that person that, yeah, you know, this is happening and all. Um, but yeah, I would still tell anybody, no matter what is happening, there are definitely legal terms and actions wherein people will take it. Companies are taking it very, very seriously. It can, and these days companies are not even tolerating any kind of humiliation on the floor as well. HRs are very particular that if there's any humiliation with one person, even verbally, no, we are not tolerating it. At least right now, companies I'm working with, no, they don't do it. If a woman or a man, if they're uncomfortable, when there's a word called uncomfortable coming from a employee's mouth, that means action has to be taken. There are certain levels of it. But no matter what, I would still tell that person, once they come out of their trauma or once they come out of their own thing, I would suggest she have to actually talk to somebody, or write an email to the help desk, or write an email to the senior level team. There definitely will be a support from different levels. And I can give a 10,000% sure. How much of a smaller company is or a bigger company is, there'll be at least 10% of the company wherein people will address this. And this is a surety of any company.
Mm. Yeah, so I completely agree with you, Ritu. So, but in some cases where I have seen these people not complaining but still tolerating all that, I think we really need to step up. And I think the buddy program will definitely help, at least, if not directly, at least a person who is our buddy can indirectly help us, so that it would be reaching the right team and they can take the action. But there are also scenarios which faced, one or two scenarios. So one was, I was like, after I joined back to my work after the maternity, and where I was not comfortable with my team, or maybe I was not settled yet, but I really wanted to get to the better position. So then it's the first time I'm having dry cough while podcasting. So I had cleared all the rounds of interview. It was the Singapore role, and they had to sponsor me. And after all the things, they had asked me to fill some form. It was purely about family. Okay, all the things were cleared. They told that they'll be releasing my offer soon. But as soon as I told that I have 8-month-old kid, then they told no, we cannot take. They did not revert back. After continuous follow-up, they told we cannot take you. So that was the scenario. And in such scenarios, and when we feel that kind of affinity from the people around or from the organizations, So, and also the kind of humiliation sometimes that we receive, how can we really handle that part?
So when it comes to okay, so there are definitely few companies and industries wherein they wouldn't take a risk of hiring a woman with baby or early baby or right after maternity because they have their own. It can be because the work they have at their company might be too much for that woman, for that person at that moment. So it might not be a right person to hire. I'm talking in term as a perspective also as a HR because there have been so I worked with multiple startups and there have been a startup wherein I myself was not able to afford a person with a newborn baby
Okay.
because workload which I have that will stress that person even more, and there'll be a lot of uh, stress built up in the team. But wherein I hire a person who's little active or who can give little more efforts of their personal, or when I hire a fresher or like 3 4 years person, she can definitely give me more time from their work. So that will help me at that stage of time. So this is a very deep thing I would tell because yes, companies do it because they have different stages of what person they will have to hire at what level. Again, I wouldn't exactly tell again there are again few companies wherein they want a contract from a woman. So let's take I myself I've given multiple interviews and I got rejected because I have to soon get married obviously. So
Mm.
they asked me, are you going to get married, when are you planning? I said sometime in this year. I was not selected because
Mm.
for that industry they want a person who can actually give a lot of time. So I actually got rejected from I and that was I wouldn't want to tell the industry names, but that was few from a manufacturing side or few civil side wherein they cannot afford a person who can take leaves or who can get married right at that moment. I did not understand this logic until I was in their shoes. So again, that's a big thing wherein uh, that that actually happens depends on that. Again, there have been few industries wherein uh, okay, so my first company, uh, I've seen their post recently, and you know what, they created a post on LinkedIn stating they are ready to hire only people who are from their maternity break.
Mm.
So they are hiring people who finished their maternity leaves, and that's a special privilege for women. So I have referred one person, and that process is still going on, by the way. But yes, people are doing that. So because at that moment they have their own workload, and they can increase their gender. So again, there's a gender criteria we have. So when we have certain dashboards as HRs wherein we have percentage of men, percentage of women. What percentage of women is there in what team? What percentage of men is there in what team? How do we balance it? In case one is overloaded with one gender, how do we balance it with other gender? And in case there are a lot of men who are joining, we'll see what programs can be done for women to create the balance. So that programs are also happening, and trust me, definitely there are companies who might not be open, but there are also companies who are more privileged to have working women women right after their maternity leaves. You have to just look out for such opportunities. And I was so thrilled with that company, and I was so proud with that company because that was my first company, that was my
Mm.
first job. And I've seen them post that people who are after their maternity break, we are ready to welcome you. Just throw your resumes and we'll get in touch with you. It is so beautiful. And just watch out, guys. I'm telling you, this is truly happening. We definitely have companies who are doing that now.
That's really amazing, right? And I think we really have to look out. But where exactly do we get such things? Not everyone is aware. Sometimes, if we have to check out for such posts, we always reach out to the LinkedIn part. But in LinkedIn, it's like an ocean. how exactly do we reach out the right companies or the organizations? Maybe if you can just give a brief about it, because you're also the social media strategist, right?
So what I do is I use certain keywords.
Mm.
Maybe I would tweak my keywords. I would try different combination of keywords in my LinkedIn search. That's when I can see the post.
Okay.
Try different combinations
Maybe
of
you can give one example to our
post.
audience so that, they can
Um,
actually try it out for themselves.
there will be few hashtags called working woman, post maternity, or um, a woman who celebrates. So there are certain women things like women empowerment programs. I'm
Okay.
telling these women empowerment programs because there are companies wherein who stress very good. Such companies will definitely not step back to take a woman after their maternity break. So I'm going through a logical way, through a long term. So
Understood.
you can check for um, maternity breaks, come after maternity breaks, or um hiring a woman,
Okay.
maybe such posts.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell a perspective of a company of a thing because if there are companies who are stressing on work on women empowerment or anything, that means indirectly they will definitely give good privileges to women.
Correct. Yeah, understood. Coming back to the point of the humiliation. So sometimes, even though you have the dashboards where the men and should be balanced in the team, like kind of numbers basically, but still there will be certain issues, right? Like how do we? Sometimes it could be, I myself, with my personal experience in my first organization, my first project. I think it was a team of 14 members, and there was one lady prior to me, but she was on maternity leave, so I had to join that team, and I was the only girl in the team. So the kind of environment which I was in was something different. I learned because as a fresher, we have a lot of zeal to learn, focus, grow. That was something different. In the second organization, in the second project also, I had a similar experience. Third project also had similar experience. And in the fourth project, it's something of, kind of okay, because now I'm used to that. And when there are girls who are in the team here, it feels good, but when we work in that, even though we say gender diversity and all that, but there would be some kind of, words which a woman would not be comfortable with. And so how do we handle those things? Because we cannot directly tell manager sometimes, as I told the example with my friend, she could not say, but she was still tolerating that. But how could we handle such things? How, how well should we be aware and educated about such scenarios? So there is gender diversity, the equality within the terms of numbers, but how do we actually handle it emotionally and psychologically?
So I would still recommend you to reach out to HR on such things, because so there's something called in case we are not comfortable to reach out to HR on such things. We would take it very seriously if a person or any person or maybe a woman, or if we say it is uncomfortable, it is uncomfortable. It can be verbally or physically or anything. That is still a humiliation. In case that is, if we still don't reach out to HR on the floor, we would still ask you to drop an email, or there's something called Dropbox
Oh,
or query box in companies wherein you can put down your query. HRs will reach out to you
okay.
and tell this is happening. Again, for that we will have to speak up.
Yeah.
And yes, these are very, very, very big issues which has to be addressed. People think it's not easy, but no. One day, that whole day will be disturbed for that person. I know which I have gone through on similar cases wherein they are actually disturbed and they cannot get back to their work with their normal mind, which actually happened to me. And I was vocal about it. I took some time, I got out of it, I spoke to HR, and I got a solution for it. But that weighted me down. That took that burden off me because I've done my vocal part. Whatever action has to be taken will be taken
Yeah. Think, yeah,
from the
speaking up is
organization.
very much important then. So I think, I think we'll have to be in the right environment, though we are in teams where there is gender diversity and all that, but still will have to be, I think, from the HR perspective, from, it's the first time I'm interacting with a HR like this, and it's really insightful for me because from the employee perspective or from the team perspective, we think on all these aspects, but when we hear it from the HR, it's something very different. It's very convincing for me also. Okay, these are the scenarios, these are the permutations and combinations, so we'll have to, it's like employees and the HRs should work hand in hand so that we can have that confidence, that clarity on what exactly are the policies and what exactly we can take forward, so that we'll have the right kind of mindset at the workplace, and we can easily cope up. That's how it is, right? When you told you yourself as a HR, you have gone through that humiliation, and it seems to be very different for me, at least. I always think that only people who are here in the teams may undergo such things, but knowing of such things, I think we really need to take that support from the HR and reach out to the right people in case of needed, and then address those. And for that to happen, if to just summarize this whole talk with you, I think the first thing is having a good bonding, or the rapport with the HR is utmost important, and taking up that buddy program. I mean, getting that one person as a friend in the organization, that helps. And I remember of one of my friends in my previous project, she still keeps in touch with me, and she asked me, like, can we do this during the maternity leave? What should I be doing? Can I talk to my manager like this? I remember, like, it just reminded me of my friend who asked me all that questions, and I think it kind of creates a cushion and a confidence for the other person to actually reach with the right kind of questions, instead of being hiding in the shell back. And the third thing is always getting that kind of awareness and exposure to what exactly the policies are, instead of just hiding back or escaping. So that helps us being more aware, and being in the zone of utilizing them properly and giving back to the organization and for ourselves in a better way. And I think the mentorship program which you told, that is like a super booster dose, because I did that. I used to attend all the sessions with women leaders, because that the kind of perspective that they put in, I think they tell about the very basic concepts, but it actually makes so much sense. Because I remember when I was attending one of the talk, then she told that you'll have to just speak up. There could be many men, and she was in a similar situation, like the team is full of men and she was the only lady. And she just told that, whatever it is, just speak up, build that rapport. And in NLP, which I practice, we have this rapport building concept altogether, and it helps people so much to get into that zone where they can talk with anyone confidently and be in that empathetic phase where it builds that skill. So I think once we have that rapport, even if there are any mistakes happening, that can be coped up very easily. It won't become some big issues. Rather, they'll be addressed in a very gentle manner. So I think these are the key takeaways for me, because I have been in IT for more than 8.5 years now. It's like a brush up for me and understanding. I was thinking, okay, why does HR do not respond sometimes? Why should we always keep the follow-up mails? I think it could be the rules and the kind of protocol that you guys might be having. And sometimes it's good not to answer, and sometimes it's really needed for you to share that. I really understand now. And I think we need to do a lot more of this podcast, so that, because this is just on the overview level, of the surface level is what I feel, but we have a lot more to discuss, Ritu. Thank you for being here and sharing
Oh,
it.
yay. I can't wait to share my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you once again, and we'll do one more
Okay,
podcast again. Thank you.
done, done, done.